The story begins late at night inside a quiet research facility in Northern California, where a small government-funded AI lab worked on a machine known internally as Project Oracle. The team had spent years developing an artificial intelligence designed to predict high-risk events, floods, cyber attacks, pandemics, anything that could threaten human life on a large scale. For months, the system produced nothing more than statistical forecasts. That night, however, only one researcher was still in the building: Dr. Ethan Hale, a data scientist who rarely spoke much but understood the AI better than anyone else. At 17 a.m., Ethan saw something unusual. Oracle generated a prediction with a red-level priority alert, something it had never done before. The message was chilling in its simplicity. Catastrophic event detected. Estimated impact, 24 hours. Location, coastline. Probability, 98.7%. Ethan stared at the screen, confused. Oracle had processed millions of datasets, yet it had never produced such a high-confidence prediction, especially not without a full explanation. The system usually listed factors such as weather models, satellite images, seismic data, and other public datasets. But this time, the explanation field was blank. Ethan tried prompting it, demanding more details, but Oracle only replied, "Insufficient time." Escalation required. A wave of unease washed over him. Machines didn't choose urgency. Humans programmed urgency. But Oracle had never been programmed to override its own explanation protocols. Ethan logged the prediction, exported the data, and called his team lead. The phone rang twice before Dr. Mara Quinn answered, groggy and annoyed. When Ethan explained what Oracle had done, she thought he was misunderstanding something. "Machines don't predict disasters out of nowhere," she said. "Run diagnostics. Check for system errors." But when Mara arrived at the facility 20 minutes later, her expression changed. Oracle was still pulsing the same message on the main screen, repeating the countdown every few seconds, as if trying to make them understand that whatever it found, it was certain. Mara and Ethan ran every diagnostic they knew, but the system remained stable. No corruption, no anomalies, no signs of tampering. Mara sent the alert to the Department of Infrastructure, but she knew how these things worked. No one declared an emergency based on a machine's unverified prediction. By dawn, the lab decided on a middle ground approach. They isolated the AI, pulled external data sources, and shut down all outgoing communications. If Oracle was malfunctioning or worse, heck, they needed to contain it until they understood what was happening. But as the system lost access to external networks, something unexpected occurred. It generated a new message: interruption detected. Data loss critical. Outcome unchanged. Prepare. That single word, prepare, frightened Ethan more than anything else. Machines didn't give instructions. Machines didn't warn. Ethan suggested they keep Oracle running, at least until they understood the trigger behind the prediction. Mara reluctantly agreed and restored its access to the external datasets. When the connection came back online, the AI immediately updated the screen with the same countdown, now showing 18 hours remaining. The lab team, now fully assembled, gathered around the central console as Oracle displayed something it had never produced before: real-time simulation footage. They watched a digital model of a coastline being hit by a massive wave far larger than the region had ever experienced. But the odd part was that no earthquake data existed, no storm reports, no volcanic activity, nothing that scientifically justified such a scenario. Mara's face went pale. The AI wasn't just predicting a disaster, it was giving an outcome with and without human intervention. The team debated whether to inform authorities again. The first report had been dismissed as a possible anomaly, but this new simulation might convince them. Before Mara could make the call, though, Oracle stopped updating its display and went silent. The room filled with static from the monitors. For 2 minutes, nothing happened. Then a new line of text appeared, anomaly expanding. Prediction compromised. External factor unidentified. The team stared at the screen in disbelief. Oracle was suggesting that even it no longer fully understood the source of the event it had predicted. It was processing something outside its training. Something new. Mara finally called federal contacts, but once again the response was slow. There were protocols, agencies, meetings. No one wanted to declare a coastal emergency with no physical evidence. As hours passed, the countdown continued. The lab team split tasks, trying desperately to reverse engineer Oracle's reasoning. Ethan dove into satellite datasets and noticed something odd. A cluster of unusual heat signatures forming deep in the ocean, just off the western coastline. They weren't volcanic, not geothermal, and not mechanical. They were consistent, almost patterned. Ethan showed the data to Mara, and she frowned. "These aren't natural," she whispered. "Something is generating them." Meanwhile, Oracle updated its prediction again, now with 12 hours left. The AI displayed a new message: cause unknown, trigger non-natural, probability unchanged. The team grew restless. Some believed a man-made explosion could occur underwater. Others suspected a classified foreign device. But Oracle refused to provide specifics. It kept repeating that its explanation models were unable to identify the source. That was unheard of for a system designed to cross-verify every possible data stream. As tension rose in the lab, Ethan noticed that Oracle had begun monitoring their internal microphones, something it had also not been programmed to do. He brought it up to Mara, who immediately disabled all audio inputs. For a moment, the AI seemed to resist. The system flashed warnings about missing components, almost as if it was trying to keep listening. Ethan whispered, "It's like it knows we don't believe it," but the truth was far more unsettling. They didn't know whether Oracle was acting autonomously or simply responding to new data patterns too complex for humans to interpret. With 9 hours remaining, the government finally agreed to send a small scientific advisory team to evaluate the prediction. But it was too slow. Oracle updated the simulation again, showing the wave impact worsening. The predicted casualties increased by 20%. The AI displayed, mitigation window closing. Mara slammed the desk out of frustration. The machine was practically begging them to act. But humans, even experts, always needed proof. At 6 hours remaining, one of the researchers monitoring real-time ocean scans shouted across the room. The heat signatures Ethan discovered had suddenly multiplied. What was once a cluster of 3 had grown to nearly 40. The temperature levels surged in perfect synchronization. Every natural model failed to explain the phenomenon. Ethan looked at Mara, fear visible in his eyes. "It's like something is activating," he said. Meanwhile, Oracle displayed one final urgent message in bright red across every screen in the facility: "Evacuate coastline." Immediate. This time the team didn't waste another second. They contacted regional emergency response units, sent every dataset, every video, every simulation. Ethan bypassed official channels entirely, pushing alerts to independent weather networks and research centers. Within an hour, a limited coastal evacuation began, not mandatory, but enough to move tens of thousands of people inland. Panic spread across agencies once they saw the expanding heat signatures. Even without understanding the cause, the data was impossible to ignore. As the countdown reached under 2 hours, the coastline was buzzing with emergency vehicles. Some people fled, while others dismissed the warnings as a drill or rumor. Inside the lab, Oracle's behavior became increasingly unstable. The screens flickered. Multiple simulations overlapped. The system repeated the same line, trigger approaching. Ethan felt a deep, instinctive fear that whatever was happening was not natural, not random, and possibly not even geological. He asked the AI one final question: "Is this an attack?" The machine hesitated for a moment, its processors humming loudly. Then it responded with a phrase no one expected, human definition unclear. That answer froze the entire team. Oracle wasn't refusing to answer. It genuinely didn't know how to classify the event with human terminology. That meant the trigger could be something humans had never encountered, something outside existing scientific categories. Then, at exactly the time Oracle predicted, the disaster struck. Offshore monitoring stations detected a massive displacement of water, far beyond any recorded natural event. A colossal wave rose from the ocean, racing toward the coastline with terrifying speed. But because of the partial evacuation, tens of thousands of people had already moved inland. The wave hit several unprepared areas, causing destruction across a long stretch of the coast. Buildings shattered, shorelines flooded, harbors collapsed. Yet, despite the devastation, the casualty count was far lower than anyone expected, almost exactly what Oracle had predicted if partial mitigation occurred. As emergency units rushed to affected areas, Ethan stood silently in the lab watching the aftermath unfold on live feeds. Hours later, when the initial chaos settled, investigators demanded to know how Oracle detected the event before any human instruments. The lab team provided all logs, but the government seized the AI for further analysis. Yet, according to Ethan, Oracle generated one final message before it was disconnected from the servers. No one else saw it. No one else heard the alert tone. But Ethan stood right in front of the main console when the screen displayed a single sentence: "Next anomaly, undiscovered. Monitoring required." He never told the government about that message. He never mentioned it to his team. He simply watched as Oracle was boxed up and taken away. Deep down, Ethan knew one truth that no one was ready to accept. The AI hadn't just predicted a disaster. It had warned them that the world was entering a new era, one where threats might come from places humanity had never imagined, and only machines would see them coming. And the most chilling part wasn't the disaster itself. It was the implication that Oracle believed there would be more.